Like, it might be hard, but you've got to trust yourself that being as you can be is totally worth it, especially in this kind of application situation. I'm gonna preface, this is gonna be a much longer video because we're gonna technically go through writing samples that I have that I submitted as part of my USC application, so you don't have to watch this if you're not that interested. But yeah, this is especially for the writers who are interested in USC screenwriting program and requested tips I had for applying to it. So today I want to show you what I submitted for my USC Screenwriting MFA application for the writing sample portion. I don't really know how anyone gets into the program, but I know that this is what I submitted. I worked hard on it, I took risks, and this is what got me admitted into the school. I liked USC's applications because they made it like little assignments, and I was like, this is very doable. I looked it up last night. All these assignments are still the same from when I filled out the application. I'm also going to be doing something I have never done before, which is share some of my writing with you guys, my screenwriting writing with you guys. I will include links to those PDFs in the description below. It'll probably be a link on my website. Yeah, so you can follow along, print it off, just open it on your screen. Keep in mind that USC is also just looking for raw talent, raw storytelling talent and passion and a unique point of view. For a little background info for people who don't know, USC's Screenwriting MFA program is a 2-year-long program. They also have a screenwriting undergrad program, which is very good. Anyway, if you're at all interested in applying to that program, I would highly recommend it too if you're in the process of picking an undergrad program. Okay, so let's get started. First document I'm going over is the autobiographical character sketch. I'm just gonna read the assignment. Write a creative essay or short story that evokes an understanding of how you became who you are. This should reflect your individuality. It's not a resume. 1 to 2 pages in length. So I actually did the very romantic writer thing of waking up in the middle of the night with an idea for what I wanted to do for this 1 to 2 page essay. And it was such an arresting dream. And I just wrote up a first draft. And I think that really helped me take a risk with this sketch. I did something that I wouldn't normally do. The concept is I am my current day self and I go back in time to the house my family lived in when I was 3 years old, and I knock on the door in the middle of the night. My mom wakes up and my mom and I have a conversation while I'm looking at 3-year-old me playing with Legos or whatever, and I start to get emotional because I'm looking at the smaller version of me that I know I'm going to give a really hard time. I really struggled with perfectionism for all of my school career, and now I'm finding that's not helpful at all for me being happy, so I'm trying to work on that. So that's what the essay is about. I'm gonna skip ahead to this middle part, which is where I really hit the theme that I wanted to. I'm a character struggling with the idea that by beating up myself, I'm also beating up my inner child, which is this 3-year-old toddler, and that just brings me a lot of pain. So this is that part. I watch her, so content, so pleased with herself. Something about it makes my chest tighten. And then the years start rushing at me. Kindergarten, 3rd grade, middle school. How I'm never going to let this little girl forget about that 2nd grade remedial reading class. How I'm going to be so disappointed in her for not getting into the gifted and talented program in 4th grade with all her friends. How I'll watch her turn herself into a perfectionist and do nothing to stop it. So, yeah. And man, I remember when I was writing the first draft of this especially, and actually the first few drafts of this, it just made me cry. It made me cry so much. But it was very cathartic to write it down. So I encourage you to dig deep to find something that really makes you feel something. You don't have to do, something as therapy rich as what I did, but that's what I wrote, and I really liked that I wrote this. So let's go over what's in this 2-page story. Main characters, 2 mainly, dialogue, because it's a scene basically, and the establishment of a world and details about it, and a problem to solve. There's also a lot of voice in this piece, and that's what I'm most proud of. So the more specific you can be, I think the better, and I think the more of a connection you'll make with your reader. Okay, on to the next essay assignment. My most challenging moment. I'm going to read the assignment. Convey in writing the greatest challenge you have faced and how you responded to it. The challenge may be of any kind you care to write about: physical, emotional, moral, creative, personal, professional, or some other sort. 1 to 2 pages in length. So I chose to do a emotional / spiritual most challenging moment. I basically talked about the period of time and the day I really made the decision that I can't be in this Christian fellowship that I'm in anymore. A friend of mine who came out as gay recently was not allowed to be on the leadership team anymore of the fellowship I was in, and that really made it hard for me to be able to continue also being in a leadership position. So yeah, in this piece I write about a conversation that friend and I had where he could tell something was wrong and I was trying to hide it, and then he just was like, please don't lie to me, and I told him the truth, and we both ended up crying, and it was a really beautiful moment. I like this little bit, which I think gives you a sense of kind of the tone I was writing in. I knew everything was going to change then, and I was terrified. I had already signed a lease to live with 2 other Christians for the next year. My whole social circle revolved around Christians. I didn't know who I was going to be without Bible study and PG movie parties. And then I really like the end, so I'm going to read that part to you too. Leaning against the wall, I let it all pour out. Tears, fears, and one last request. Please don't hate me, God. I still love you, but I just can't do this anymore. I sobbed to the person I had talked to every day for the last half-decade. Then I heard a key at the door, which meant my Christian roommates were home, and it was time to stop crying. I like that last line because I love writing about characters who are externally happy but internally miserable, and the process of them finally becoming honest. So I like how this piece really relates to that, like a theme I've found that I love writing about in grad school. This one's only 1.5 pages, and what I see in it is there's a lot of honesty and a lot of raw emotion. 2 main characters. Clarity. I remember I worked very hard to make it very clear, like, what the world was. Like, I wasn't too poetic so that we couldn't picture visuals. I wanted to make sure that it was very easy to picture what was going on in this essay. One more thought about this. If you don't have like a really big moment that was like really hard for you, like if you're blessed to have a really, I don't know, a life that hasn't caused you a lot of really difficult moments, that's great. And that doesn't mean you're not gonna find something good to write in this. If you went through an experience and it was really hard for you, it was your most challenging moment, that's enough. If you can bring us a unique moment that was hard to you specifically, that's going to be very powerful if you really like push yourself to revise it and make it really clear and make it apparent what the problem was and what the challenges were and how you overcame it. Okay, on to scene A, script pages.